All right, guys, welcome back to iiKnows. It's March Madness edition, NCAA brackets. Trent and I, we're going to be going over our picks for the NCAA tournament and our brackets.
Yep.
So we're going to see how well we can do in this, despite us not being very good at the NFL playoffs. We'll see if we're better at college basketball.
You want to go ahead and start in the
East.
East or the Midwest?
East.
East.
Yes. Well, for the first game, we got Duke versus the 16 seed. This doesn't
Yeah.
have much impact
Yeah,
to
Duke's
me.
gonna win.
Duke's winning, in my opinion.
Next up is VCU and UCF.
VCU versus UCF.
Yeah.
I know VCU lost in their tournament.
Mhm.
UCF, they're a pretty big team.
Yeah.
I feel like Taco Fall is going to be a big factor in that game. UCF's going to come away with that one.
Yeah, they have some size mismatches. UCF's gonna win that, I think. Next up, Mississippi State and Liberty.
Now, Mississippi State, they like to shoot threes.
Mhm.
Not really much else I know about them. I know they were one real standout guy. Liberty, they play really slow. I don't know if Mississippi State's going to be able to handle it. So this is going to be my first upset. I'm going to pick Liberty.
You stole my upset. I'm not very high on Mississippi State. I think they're one of the most overrated teams in the tournament. So I'm gonna agree with you and go with Liberty.
The next game is the Virginia Tech Hokies versus St. Louis. I forget what their mascot is.
I don't know. St. Louis. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're losing.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech moves on.
Virginia Tech gets their best player back. They're going to be a team to watch out for in the playoffs. In the tournament this year.
Yeah. And then it's Maryland, and then Belmont or Temple, which is a playing game. Belmont will probably win that, I think. But it doesn't really matter. Maryland's going to win.
Yeah, I also believe in Maryland because, they played good team basketball all year long. I don't think an 11 seed's going to come in and beat them.
No. Next up, got LSU and Yale.
Yeah, LSU, they just lost their coach, Naz Reid. He hasn't been playing. I don't know what's going on there. Yale, they won their Ivy League. This game, I don't know what to do with because LSU, they could bomb the whole game and not play up to expectations, or they could be even more motivated. But without their coach, that's a big loss. I'm going to have to go with Yale.
Yeah, if LSU had Naz Reid and their head coach, I think they could be a team that could potentially go to the Elite Eight. But losing that at this time, it's just really bad timing, and I think Yale will be able to squeak out a win.
Yeah, and then we have the 5 seed. The 7 seed.
Louisville and Minnesota.
Yeah, David Nwora, he's Louisville's best player. He's been a key guy all year long, and should have been. I think he might have been an All ACC guy. Not really. I'm not completely sure, but he's a big reason to their success. And Minnesota, I like them, but Louisville's too good of a team. I can't pick against Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville, I think they're going to be able to get Minnesota out of their comfort zone. Minnesota's kind of slow. They're a big team. They have a lot of size to them, but I think Louisville's going to be able to take advantage of their mismatches.
Yeah. And then we have the 2 seed Michigan State versus Bradley. Michigan State, they just lost one of their starters, I think.
Yeah.
They still have Cassius Marsh, though, and Tom Izzo's still there, but they're not really a great tournament team, but I don't see them getting upset by Bradley right here. I have them moving on.
Yeah.
Right now we got the what is this, the West region?
Yeah.
We got Gonzaga and the 16 seed. I think it's a playing game.
Yeah, it's Farley Dickinson and Prairie View A&M, so doesn't matter.
I'm not very confident in either of those 16 seeds,
Yeah.
and they're not UMBC, so
Right.
Gonzaga easily.
Yeah, Gonzaga, they're going to take the win.
The next one's Syracuse Baylor.
I got Syracuse.
I also have Syracuse, especially if they have Tyus Battle, because Tyus Battle, he's their best player, and if he's on the floor, they can beat anybody in the country. So I don't see Baylor beating this Jim Boeheim team.
No.
The next game, Marquette Murray State. John Morant versus a struggling Marquette. They've been struggling to get wins. They didn't even win their conference. So I believe in Murray State to come away and get this victory.
I was going to pick Murray State, but I think up to this point we've been the same on everything, so I'm just going to go Marquette to switch it up a little bit.
All right. What's the next one? Florida State, Vermont.
Yeah.
Florida State, they're so hot right now. It's hard for me to pick against them. I know Vermont won their conference.
Yeah.
let it be known that it is not a very good conference, but they still did. Florida State, they hung with Duke for a little bit. For most of the game, they hung with Duke, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick Florida State in this one.
Yeah, I'll take Florida State to move on as well.
Next one, Buffalo, Arizona State, or St. John's.
Yeah.
Buffalo, they've been playing decent all year. They upset somebody last year. I forget who it was. I know Villanova, I think. Yeah.
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
Well,
Wasn't Nova.
They upset somebody last year. St. John's, I don't think they're that good. They haven't played very well. Arizona State, Pac-12 is very weak. Nothing very exciting there, so I'm going to have to go and take Buffalo.
Well, I think St. John's will be able to beat Arizona State to get the play in, and I have St. John's moving on, beating Buffalo.
Have fun with that one, Chief.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, Northern Kentucky. To me, Texas Tech is a very big underdog. Well, not an underdog, very big sleeper, because they play the best defense in the country.
Yeah.
They're very deep. They have a bunch of grad transfers and some freshmen. Jared Culver's playing out of this world right now. I don't see Texas Tech losing to a 14 seed. No.
Yeah. I also have Texas Tech taking a win.
And then we have Nevada, Florida. Florida's pretty hot. They won a few games in the SEC tournament. They play great defense. They're not really a great offensive team. Nevada, they've been struggling. They're
a little bit.
They've lost to some pretty bad teams. The thing is though with them, they have great depth and seniority, but I don't think that's good enough to beat this Florida team that's on the rise.
I think Nevada's going to flick the switch, and they're going to be able to beat Florida, bring it back together, and start getting on a roll again. There's a reason they were top 10 in the nation pretty much all year.
Preseason.
Pretty much the whole season, too. First half. Yeah.
All right, well, we're on to Michigan and Montana. This game shouldn't be very big. There shouldn't be an upset here.
No.
Montana isn't very good, and Michigan, they lost to Michigan State. Yeah, no, did they beat?
Yeah, they did lose to Michigan State.
They lost to Michigan State, but Jim Beeline, he's a great coach, and they have great pieces, 5 stars on that team. I don't see them coming away with the loss there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Michigan's definitely going to get a dub.
Right now, we're going to transition into the South region. We have Virginia and Gardner-Webb.
Yeah.
Does Gardner-Webb pull off what UMBC did to Virginia last year?
Absolutely. No, Virginia's going to win.
I also believe Virginia's going to win. I think they've rebounded from that loss, but they are very beatable. That they have a lot of, I wouldn't say holes, but they're just prone to, if they don't win the way they're supposed to win,
yeah, they're very
systematic.
Can't win. They're very systematic.
Mississippi versus
Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Yeah.
Mississippi and Ole Miss. Same thing.
Yeah.
But versus Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I don't know who to pick here.
I'm gonna take Ole Miss. They've been a kind of a streaky team throughout the year. They get hot and they cool off, but right now I think they're pretty hot, and I think they can beat Oklahoma pretty easily. WVU just beat Oklahoma. Anyone should be able to.
Just because you said that, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma because for West Virginia, they're an amazing basketball school. Great coach, great system. They just struggled this year. They're gonna have a bounce back year next year.
Hopefully.
On to the next one, Wisconsin versus Oregon. Oregon won the Pac-12 very decisively against Washington, so that's very intriguing. And then Wisconsin, they have Ethan Happ. This one, to me, is a toss-up. There's a lot. The 12 seeds are looking very good this year.
Yeah.
And since, not last year, because no 12 seed won last year.
Yeah.
But, who do I pick? I'm going to have Wisconsin winning this one. Just strictly on the fact that I have 2 12 seeds already winning.
Well, Ethan has been really inconsistent throughout the year. Oregon's really hot. I think they have a really good coach and a good roster. They were just kind of shook up a little bit at the beginning of the season with Bobo getting injured. Got better throughout the season. I think Oregon's going to be able to get a win.
All right. Kansas State, UC Irving.
Yeah, Kansas State's going to get a pretty easy win.
They get Will Wade back. They can make a very serious tournament run. I don't know the status of Will Wade's for the tournament yet, but after the South region, I will be able to check on that for you guys. But yeah, I have Kansas State moving on past UC Irving.
Yeah.
Villanova St. Mary's. This is a good matchup to me because Villanova, they won the Big East, and St. Mary's, they won Gonzaga, whatever the Big West. I don't know what it's called. Something like that. But Gonzaga's in there, and they beat Gonzaga.
Yeah.
So St. Mary's, they're definitely dangerous, more dangerous than I thought they would be, and I have them upsetting Villanova in this matchup right here.
Yeah, Villanova started off. It's another team that started kind of shaky, got better throughout the year. So I'm going to have Villanova taking a win here.
All right, now we're on to Old Dominion and Purdue. How do you feel about Purdue this year, Trent?
I like Purdue. They're Darius Garland, I believe, or no, Carson Edwards. He's out, but they have some good depth. They have a couple good bigs I like, so I think they're going to be able to.
Well, you know, I think Purdue's pretty prone to getting upset, so I'm going to have Old Dominion in this one.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Cincinnati and Iowa. Who do you like?
I don't know a lot about Cincinnati, but I know Iowa's a very streaky team. Once they get going from deep, they can beat anyone, so I'm going to have them taking the dub against Cincinnati.
I like Cincinnati in this one strictly because they're a more physical team. I like the tenacity that they play with, and they play very good defense, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Cincinnati. And Tennessee Colgate. Colgate won their conference over Bucknell, but that shouldn't match up to Tennessee's elite talent.
Yeah.
So I have Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right, to follow up, Will Wade's the LSU coach. I meant to say Dean Wade, and earlier I did say Cassius Marsh, and it's Cassius Winston.
Yeah.
Please don't crucify me in the comments. But anyways, Dean Wade, he's unclear of right now. A decision will be coming out later today as of the recording that we have. So plan accordingly to our picks. Anyways, we're on to the Midwest region, and UNC is up against the 16th seed, and I don't even need to know who it is because UNC is going to win this matchup.
Yeah, UNC's going to, yeah.
And then we have Utah State versus Washington. Washington, they got absolutely trounced against Oregon, but I watched them play earlier this year against Virginia Tech. I think they're a solid basketball team, and I think they can come away and beat Utah State. Yeah,
they're a pretty good defensive team. Utah State has a good system there, but Washington has more talent. They're going to be able to get the win at the end.
They're also a trashy program. They went out and tried to fight. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, if you're a Utah State fan, screw you. Auburn, New Mexico State. How do you feel about this one?
New Mexico State's a team I kind of like, but Auburn I really like, and they're a team that can get very hot pretty quick, and I have them taking a win against New Mexico State. Yeah, I really like New Mexico State. They can shoot the ball pretty well. Their best player, he isn't a real three-point shooter, but everybody else on the team is. Yeah.
So it makes it hard for me to choose on this one. Didn't Auburn?
Kind of Bucks-esque.
Yeah. Didn't Auburn go?
I think they lost. I think they lost to Tennessee in the tournament.
They beat somebody in there. I don't know. I think they beat somebody pretty good.
Yeah.
Helped increase their.
I think they beat LSU.
Yeah, they beat LSU. That's who they did beat. Yeah. But with that being said, I think I'm going to have to go with New Mexico State simply for the fact that Auburn, they've been rocky all year long. I'm not very confident in Auburn this year. Can't trust them.
All right.
Kansas Northeastern. Northeastern, they are a very good, well-coached team. Kansas, I think they're very overrated this year. I think they should have been a 6th seed. I don't see them as a very well-rounded team. They've struggled against Texas Tech. Couldn't find any offense in that game, and for that fact, I'm going to have Kansas win this game.
Is it Kansas?
Yep.
Okay. Set it up like you were going to have Northeastern.
I did.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Kansas is going to be able to win in this round.
The next one, we have Iowa State versus Ohio State. Ohio State, they beat Indiana, which was essentially the playing game for them to get into the tournament, and they showed out. Iowa State, they won the Big 12, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they're on a roll right now. I really like Iowa State, but it's hard for me to pick against Ohio State, but I'm still going to pick Iowa State.
Yeah, I'm going to take Iowa State, too. They're really hot right now. Ohio State, they're a I think they have more talent on their team overall, but Iowa State is, it's about timing with this tournament.
Now, the next one, it's Georgia State versus Houston. Houston, they're a very well-rounded team. They shoot the ball well, play good defense, played in the American Athletic Conference.
Yeah.
So, talent there. Maybe haven't played the best competition all year, but
I played Cincinnati, UCF. There's a couple tournament teams in there.
Yeah, so I like the way that they play, though. I watched them against USF. I really thought they had a great team bond, and they have great chemistry. So I'm going to go and pick Houston to move on.
Yeah, Houston's been a really dominant team all year. They only have like 3 losses on the season. Yeah, I have that moving on as well.
And then Wofford versus Seton Hall. Seton Hall, I don't feel like is the team that they usually are. And for that simple fact, Wofford's been playing pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and take Wofford in this one.
Yeah, Wofford right now is kind of comparable like Wichita State a few years ago. They're a smaller program, but they have good players, and they're going to be able to get it done.
Yeah. And then we have the 2 seed Kentucky versus Abilene Christian. How do you feel about this one?
I mean, Kentucky's on a roll right now. They didn't start too great, but throughout the season I've grown to like Kentucky more, even though I'm not a big fan of the coach.
Yeah, I really like Kentucky. I like the way they play basketball. I think John Calipari is one of the better coaches in men's basketball right now.
I think he's one of the more overrated coaches in men's basketball.
All right. Well, they have great talent. Maybe not as much depth as many teams because of the high turnover rate with their freshmen. And for that simple fact, I have Abilene Christian upsetting the 2 seed.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Into the round of 32, and we're gonna start off with Trent's East bracket, and then he'll go to mine, and then we'll go back and forth along West, South, Midwest. So Trent.
Yeah.
Duke or UCF?
I have Duke taking the win. It's not much to explain there.
Liberty or Virginia Tech?
Virginia Tech's going to be able to take a quick dub there.
Maryland or Yale?
I'm going to have Maryland winning against Yale.
Louisville or Michigan State?
I'm going to have an upset, and I think Louisville's going to be able to beat Michigan State.
I like that upset. I really like Louisville this year. I think they're an Elite 8 team, possibly. I also had Duke, UCF. We have the same. Okay, so.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Taco Fall and UCF
losing
with the big upset of the century right here. Taco Fall increases his draft stock. Taco Fall
doesn't have a draft stock.
He does.
He's just tall.
You know, Taco Fall has more block shots than he has missed shots this year.
Really?
Yeah. Bet you didn't know that stat, did you?
I didn't know that.
Virginia Tech versus Liberty.
So you have UCF beating Duke.
Yeah, I know that's going to be crazy, but you have to understand, UCF can play ball. They play ball pretty well this year, and I want to see this matchup, Taco Fall and Zion Williamson, to see how well Zion compares to a 7'6" center who's been in the college.
NCAA developing for like 3 years now.
Yeah. So I'm going to be. I really hope that UCF beats VCU in that matchup. Now we're on to Virginia Tech Liberty.
Yeah.
Liberty they played Virginia Tech earlier this year. They got absolutely smoked. I don't think that really changes, even though if Liberty gets Virginia Tech to play the way Liberty plays, they could struggle.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to have Virginia Tech moving on. And then I have Maryland versus Yale, and I accidentally clicked Maryland, but I guess that's just destiny. Maryland, you're moving on just because of that.
You were gonna choose Yale?
Might have. I don't know. I'm doing it on the fly, baby.
All right.
Louisville, Michigan State. Now, you know, Michigan State doesn't play very well in the tournament, and Louisville, I do like David Nwora and the depth with, I think his last name is Clapp or something. The Louisville coach, I think he's done a great job rebuilding this team and
turning it around pretty quickly.
Yeah, quick turnaround. And I'm still gonna have Louisville get moving on as well because I really like Louisville this year, so that's why I have going there. Now back to you. We're on to the West region.
Yeah.
the West region has Gonzaga and Syracuse.
Yeah, I think Gonzaga is one of those teams that are very systematic, kind of comparable to UVA. And Syracuse, I think they're going to be able to disrupt that with a coach that has been here. He's done this, and Syracuse is always a really good tournament team, so I have them beating Gonzaga.
I like it. Marquette, Florida State.
I don't have much faith in Marquette. The only reason I picked them over Murray State is because you picked Murray State. I wanted to switch it up, so Florida State's going to be able to move on there.
And you have St. John's / Arizona State versus Texas Tech.
Yeah, St. John's, that's who I think would be in that situation. They're a pretty good team. I think they're an underrated team. I really like them. I've been watching them since Chris Mullen got hired and Shamari Ponce was a freshman. So I've been watching them pretty closely for 4 years, and I really like them. But Texas State's going to be able to take a win.
Texas State.
Or Texas Tech, sorry.
Nevada, Michigan.
Nevada and Michigan. I'm going to take Nevada. The Martin twins, whenever they get hot, it's a pretty hard team to beat. And Michigan, I know you have a lot of faith in them. I don't really have that much faith, so.
I have no faith in Nevada. Let's
Really?
get that straight.
Yeah, you said Buffalo upset Villanova last year, but Villanova won the championship.
Not last year.
Yeah,
Today.
yeah, against Michigan.
All right, we're gonna do some research on who Buffalo upset last year. Buffalo upset.
Results are in.
The computer. Oh, it was Arizona. That's who they upset.
Yeah. I remember that now.
Yeah.
So
So
everyone was really high on Arizona.
yeah. Anyways, back to my picks. Gonzaga, Syracuse. I really do like Syracuse. I really believe in them being able to pull off this victory. But Gonzaga, they're a weird team because
Yeah.
they don't play very many good teams. They did beat Duke earlier this year, and
First game of the year.
whenever they were at full strength too. Second
Yeah.
game, Duke
Yeah.
played Kentucky. Pretty sure.
I think it was Gonzaga's first game though.
It might have been Gonzaga's first game, but they were all at full strength, and they've been together all summer. So Gonzaga is definitely legit, and I'm going to have to take Gonzaga over Syracuse in this one. Next, I have Murray State and Florida State. Florida State, they are on such a roll. John Morant, he's going to be a top 3 pick easily.
Top 2 probably.
I don't know. I think he's better than RJ. I mean, he's not better than RJ Barrett or Zion. So
Well, he's not better than Zion, but I think he's better than RJ.
I don't think John Morant's going to be able to handle this game. To me, if this happens, will increase his draft stock or make it fall lower because
Yeah, it's going to be John Morant versus the entire Florida State team.
because
pretty much.
Florida State is such a big team. Their guards are huge. I think one time versus whenever they were playing Virginia Tech, they didn't have a player under 6'7" on.
Florida State's always been a big team. Their coach likes to get big guys.
Yeah. No. Pause. Just pause what you said there. He likes big guys. Anyways, I have Florida State beating Murray State over in the round of 32. Buffalo, Texas Tech. I really love Texas Tech this year. I don't think Buffalo can beat Texas Tech,
No.
simply. So, then we have Florida versus Michigan in mine, and you're not a very big Michigan guy, but I think the Big Blue will be able to hold Florida at bay in this one, and I'll pick Michigan.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the South region.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got Ole Miss and Virginia. Part of me really wants to pick Ole Miss in this because, like I said, they're a streaky team. Once they get going, they're hard to stop. And if they're playing their style, they can beat Virginia. But Virginia's so good at doing their system that it's going to be really hard to beat them.
Florida State did it.
So Ole Miss is going to win.
Yeah, baby. I like it.
And then
Oregon, Kansas State.
Yeah, Oregon and Kansas State. This really depends on Dean Wade's health. If he's there, I'll take Kansas State. If not, go Oregon. But with the uncertainty, I'm going to take Oregon to move on.
8 versus 12 seed in the Sweet 16. Then you have Villanova versus Purdue.
Yeah, like you said earlier, Purdue's not traditionally a really good tournament team, so I have Villanova winning. Not much more to say there.
Iowa, Tennessee.
Said Iowa and Tennessee. I'm gonna take Tennessee. They have more talent.
So you about to make it really crazy. If you
I
pick
have
them.
I have faith in Iowa. I think they're a pretty good team, but Tennessee's gonna be able to get it done in the end.
All right, I have Virginia, Oklahoma in this one, and to me, there's not much to say. Virginia's. I feel like Tony Bennett, he'll have a quick turnaround for his team after that loss to Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be much else to say. They're moving on to the Sweet 16. Then I have Wisconsin and Kansas State. I like Kansas State so much that I don't need to know about Dean Wade because I've watched them play.
Mm-hmm.
They're very well coached this year.
They're a very good team, yeah.
And they shared the Big 12 title this year with Texas Tech, so they're definitely dangerous, and I'm going to have them moving on. Now I have a big matchup here. 11 seed versus the 14 seed. St. Mary's versus Old Dominion.
Yeah.
And do I take Old Dominion?
No.
Old Dominion, they are a very well-rounded team. They only have 8 losses this year. They don't score very well, but their BPI is very low, so I'm going to go and take St. Mary's.
Yeah. You are going to take St. Mary's because if you think St. Mary's and Gonzaga's competition is bad, go look at who Old Dominion's playing.
I can tell you who they played.
Don't they play in the Sun Belt?
Conference USA.
Oh.
They beat Syracuse this year, and they beat VCU, who were both at full strength. Give or take that as you will. I think they do have a great chance of winning it against any team. But St. Mary's, I feel like they're coming off this emotional high. They're going to keep riding it into the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati, Tennessee. Tennessee, to me, they were the 1 seed.
Yeah.
And things kind of fell apart a little bit. And they've been in a little slump. And I think that's what will continue. Cincinnati's going to pull this one off, and there goes my South bracket.
Yeah, I wanted to pick Iowa there, but if I had picked Cincinnati,
Your highest seed would have been a 6 seed.
yeah.
All right, well, on to the Midwest. We have North Carolina versus Washington for you.
I'm going to take North Carolina. Washington, they're a pretty good team, but I think UNC is very close to being the best team in this tournament.
And you have an Auburn-Kansas matchup.
Yeah, I'm not high on Kansas. I am high on Auburn. Auburn's going to win.
Iowa State, Houston.
Iowa State and Houston. Iowa State's really hot right now, but Houston is a better overall team, so this is going to be a hard one to pick. I'm going to come back to that one.
All right, so Wofford versus Kentucky.
I'm going to take Kentucky to be able to win. Wofford, if they're not hitting their shots and they're not playing perfectly, they're not going to be able to get this win.
All right.
Back to Iowa State and Houston. Iowa State's really hot right now, but
Houston is 4th in the net rankings. Iowa
Mhm.
State is 21. If that helps you out.
yeah, Iowa State's really, really hot right now, but Houston, in the end, they're going to be able to get the win.
Houston prevails against Iowa State late in overtime.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a last-second shot. Who knows?
Well, I have UNC versus Washington as well. I also believe in UNC because Washington, they're just they got Riley Sorn, my boy. He's a redshirt freshman. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's about like 6'6". I mean 7'6".
Yeah.
Skateboards pretty well. Yeah, just that's an interesting fact about Washington. There's a guy that's 7'6" and skateboards. Anyways, New Mexico State versus Kansas. I've got. I think the 12 seed's moving on, Trent.
All right.
Kansas isn't what they used to be.
Not too mad at that. Not mad at that.
New Mexico State, they're a team to watch out for.
Mm-hmm.
Now I also have Iowa State and Houston, but to counteract you, I'm going to take the hot shooting of Iowa State, the Big 12 champs.
Cyclones.
The Cyclones. I had them going pretty far whenever they had David Yang. I don't know what his first name was. Last name is Yang. George Yang.
Yeah.
I had them going pretty far whenever.
George's.
Yeah. That didn't work out very well, but this is a different team, different coach, different
That's
system.
they had Fred Hoiberg too.
Yeah. So Iowa State's moving on. We got Abilene Christian versus Wofford.
Yeah.
Do I dare take the 15 seed?
No.
I do not. I take Wofford because I really enjoy watching the Dogs play.
Yeah.
Now we're on to our Sweet 16.
We go back up to the East.
Back up to the East. Trent Paler has Duke versus Virginia Tech in DC.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a really good game to watch, and it's gonna be a very entertaining game. It's gonna be a close game. I wouldn't be too surprised if Virginia Tech got the upset, but I'm gonna have Duke win.
Yeah, it's understandable. Duke's been playing really well this year. They got Zion back, and they're a completely different team. They have a lot different energy right now that I don't know if a team can stop. You have Maryland, Louisville.
Yeah, these are two teams that I really like, but in the end, I think Maryland has a better system. They have more talent overall, so I think they're gonna be able to win against Louisville. Really high on Maryland. I like them.
And then in my Sweet 16, I have Taco Fall and UCF versus Virginia Tech, and that just sets up a perfect road for Virginia Tech to go to the Final Four. I'm taking Virginia Tech right there. And then I also have Maryland versus Louisville. This will be a great game, but I'm confident in Louisville to make a deep run in this tournament.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick Louisville.
The whole ACC Final Four?
No. Wofford. It's like nothing. Then to the West, in the in the Sweet 16, you have Syracuse, Florida State.
Yeah, Florida State's a team that is, at this point, would be extremely hot. They're going to be rolling, but Syracuse, they're a better defensive team. Florida State already has times they struggle on offense, so I think Syracuse is going to be able to get the win. Plus, you have to take into account Florida State has never really played well being the favorite in a game.
They made it to the Elite Eight last year, so they are a team to watch out for.
Yeah.
But you have Texas Tech and Nevada in your other Sweet 16 matchup in the West.
Yeah, I like Nevada. Like I said, the Martin Twins, if they get going, they're a very dangerous team.
That's who you're taking?
No, I'm going to take Texas Tech. They're a great defensive team. They have a star player that's better than both of Nevada's stars.
Jared Culver.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Now I have Gonzaga versus Florida State. This one's a very tough game for me to pick because Florida State, they are a long team. They are so much depth. They play about 10 players. They don't have one single star player. They all play. They play team ball. Each player scores at least. Every player that goes in scores typically. And for Gonzaga, I don't think they're as big as Florida State. And the way Florida State plays, they can come back because their shooting can be inconsistent, but if they're contested, they're making every shot. So I know it doesn't make any sense, but that's just how Florida State plays.
Yeah.
Then they have a Hall of Fame Florida State basketball player on their team. In my opinion, that's a man. Forget his first name. His last name's Mann. Isaac Mann or something. I don't remember. Terrence Mann.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Florida State. Texas Tech, Michigan.
Be a good game.
It will be a good game. Michigan, though, they've fallen flat to me too many times, and Texas Tech, sure, they got upset by West Virginia, but it's better to get those losses out of the way right before tournament time than to stack up maybe a upset early. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and take Texas Tech. Now over to you in the South, you have Mississippi and Oregon.
Yeah, Ole Miss and Oregon.
Mississippi and Oregon.
Yeah, if this were to be how the tournament unfolded, it would mean that Ole Miss is extremely hot right now, and Oregon is still relying on their system and their coaching. It's a tournament, so you never know what's going to happen, and hot team wins. Got Ole Miss.
Villanova, Tennessee. Your boys from Nova.
Yeah, Villanova and Tennessee.
Shout out Logan Newman.
Tennessee has more talent. Villanova has a more established system that they've been running for multiple years and they've had success with for multiple years, and that's the only reason I have them over Tennessee. And I know I kind of said contradictory before.
That is fine.
But
perfectly fine.
Oregon, they don't have as much of an established system.
Yeah,
as
8 versus
Villanova.
a 6 seed.
Yeah.
I have Virginia, Kansas State here. I really would like to pick Kansas State, but
Mhm.
I think this is the year Virginia figures it out, and they make their run to the Final Four that they haven't really been able to make recently. So, got to hand it over to UVA. Kyle Guy, he's an animal,
Yeah.
and the way they play. is just,
DeAndre Hunter.
Jerome Salt, or
Yeah.
no, his name's not Jerome. Jack Salt, the Australian sensation. Ty Jerome.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
St. Mary's, and then Cincinnati for me.
Yeah.
Now this one's a toughie. Right now, Cincinnati, I really like them. St. Mary's, I haven't really liked it all this year.
We didn't hear about them until they beat Gonzaga.
No, I've heard about them.
Uh,
They were on the bubble for a while. They're a team that maybe shouldn't have got in, but beating Gonzaga really helped them out.
yeah.
And
Beat the number 1 team in the nation, debatably.
we're going to make my bracket fun. We're going to put St. Mary's in the Elite Eight.
Really?
Sure.
They got a nun coming to all their games, like Loyola Chicago.
Maybe. North Carolina and Auburn for you now. We're in the West. I mean the Midwest.
North Carolina and Auburn. I really like Auburn, but it's North Carolina. They're gonna win. There's nothing more.
So. Houston and Kentucky now.
Houston and Kentucky. I like what Kentucky has on the floor. They have a really talented team. They're always really talented. Coach Callie's good at recruiting, but I don't think he's that great of a basketball coach. And just because I don't like Coach Cal, I'm gonna pick Houston.
All right. Now I've got North Carolina versus New Mexico State, and this is where the dancing stops for New Mexico State, and North Carolina moves on. And in my second matchup to end the Sweet 16, I have Iowa State versus Wofford. And, man, those dogs. They're going to the Elite Eight.
All right.
My bracket's a pretty fun bracket.
Yeah, mine is an interesting bracket.
All right. Now we're in the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
You got yourself Duke and Maryland. I don't even need to ask you that question.
Yeah, Duke's gonna win.
Syracuse, Texas Tech.
Syracuse and Texas Tech is going to be a really good game. They're two teams that have very similar style. Well, very similar. Okay, so they're both great defensively and rely on one player on offense. They don't play like the same style of defense. So, yeah, pretty much. They have one main player on offense.
Yeah, Buddy Boeheim. Get it right. It's not the highest battle, Buddy Boeheim.
So, yeah, they're two teams that I really, really like.
I'm taking Buddy.
Syracuse has been here before. They've done this before. Jim Boeheim has plenty of experience, and I'm going to go ahead and take him to win.
Buddy
against Texas Tech.
Boeheim. That's Trent's guy. Mississippi, Villanova.
Yeah, Ole Miss and Villanova.
Mississippi.
Apparently, Ole Miss has just been going off the whole tournament. But in the end, Jay Wright's going to get his guys right, and they're going to beat Ole Miss.
Got yourself a 1 seed in North Carolina versus the 3 seed in Houston.
Yeah, I really like Houston. I think they could. This is a game that they could win, but at the end of the day, UNC is a elite team, and they're going to be able to get a win.
I see where you're going with this Final Four now. Yeah. Real
It wasn't planned. It wasn't planned.
All right, well, in the East, I got Virginia Tech versus Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been talking about Louisville a lot. And Virginia Tech, they just got their best player back, Kerry Blackshear at the center. He's playing like one of the best bigs in the country right now, putting up about a double-double each game.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very deep, though, and that's going to be the downfall of this team, and Louisville's going to be in the Final Four.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Picking against Virginia Tech.
Yes, I am.
Finally put down the bias.
No, I never had any bias.
Okay.
They played Liberty.
And Duke. Or no.
UCF.
UCF played Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a meeting UCF and Liberty.
Yeah.
Bias. Yeah. Okay. Well, Texas Tech, Florida State. I'm really high on both of these teams. I really enjoy watching both these teams play, but for the simple fact that Texas Tech is the best defensive team in the country, and if they're on the roll like they are on right now, I'm going to have them in the Final Four. So, here we go with that. Now we got Virginia versus St. Mary's, the 1 seed versus the 11 seed.
Yeah.
And I have the 11 seed.
Losing.
And with their magical run, the Silurenda slipper has fit perfectly all season
But now
long.
it's midnight.
The clock is not at midnight right now. It is at 11:59, and
It's going to hit midnight at halftime.
and we're gonna go and see. There's 10 seconds left. St. Mary's just hit a buzzer beater three. I mean, not a buzzer. A shot clock ending three over Kyle Guy. Kyle Guy takes the rock down the court, drives it to the rack, gets fouled and one with 2 seconds left. Makes the free throw. They're up one. St. Mary's inbounds the ball. Takes 2 dribbles. Throws it up. Air ball. Virginia's on.
So Virginia wins.
Virginia's on to the Final Four. Their first Final Four in a long time.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time Virginia was in the Final Four. They just get bounced every year. It seems like a safe bet they'll do it again.
This is a tough one from UNC and Wofford. UNC with Nasir Little,
Kobe White,
Luke May. They're all very good talents. The ACC has definitely been the best conference this year.
by far.
Wofford, let's see they beat Syracuse and ECU.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy seeing Wofford win this one. And I already have a 7th seed. We're gonna make it 2.
You have Wofford beating North Carolina.
Yes, sir. It's all for fun, baby. You got Duke and Syracuse. I already know who should I pick them.
Syracuse has won against Duke this season.
Yeah, they
Correct.
have. They have.
And
In Duke, but I don't know if Zion was healthy for that.
I believe Zion was healthy for that.
Well, when Zion wasn't healthy, they won in Syracuse.
I think that Jim Boeheim, he's faced Coach K
Buddy Boeheim.
for years. He's coached against
The
Coach
father
K
and son
for years.
duo.
And I think Jim Boeheim knows something about this Duke team that no one else does. And I think they're going to be able to go and get the win against Duke.
The ghost of the guy that Jim Boeheim killed is on their side. You got Villanova, Logan Newman's best favorite team, Philly boy, versus UNC.
I'm going to ask you one question. What happened last time Villanova and UNC faced in the tourney?
Villanova hit a buzzer beater to win the championship.
Book it. Villanova's beating UNC.
Oh my god. You're fine. Yours is crazy. Alright, well, I have Louisville and Texas Tech. I really like Louisville, but I think this is where it ends for them. And they're going to start getting the recruits back that they used to get. And this has been a great season for Louisville. They've really overachieved this year, and Texas Tech is going to go on to the
championship. It's going to be a bookmark season
game.
for their dominance in the next decade.
Maybe, possibly. Then I got, does Wofford complete the cycle, beating 2 of the best ACC teams in the country? The answer to that question is no. Virginia moves on into the final game against Texas Tech.
Virginia and Texas Tech. So the more entertaining of the 2 potential games, be Syracuse versus Villanova. Syracuse, they have that zone defense. Villanova's play style, they're a lot of ball movement, a lot of threes, and I think Villanova just has that perfect mix to be able to go out and barely beat Syracuse in the national national
Does that mean back to back?
Yeah.
Oh my god. And what is the score of that game?
I'm gonna go with a final score of 81.
That's a high score. 81 to what?
To 75.
Villanova is your champions.
Yeah.
And on to my final game, Texas Tech, Virginia. Both very well systems that are going to be a very entertaining. I think that would be a very entertaining defensive game more than offensive game, because both teams do shoot the ball very efficiently.
Yeah.
good defense possessions.
They have a lot of efficient scores, not really volume scores.
You got one of the best defensive bigs in the country with, I forget what his name is. What's his name? Tariq Owens. He's very good. He wears a headband.
Makes him better.
Doesn't make him that much better, but they also have this really good white guy that I really like. I forget what his name is. He's a graduate transfer. Plays guard. Shoots the ball pretty well. When he's on, he's on.
Well, you know, Jarrett Culver's play style, kind of perfect going up against Virginia for Texas Tech.
And
he kind of plays like Jimmy Butler, and
And Jarrett Culver loses his draft stock up to the top 5 pick, and Texas Tech is your NCAA champions.
I think Jarrett Culver's already a top 5 pick. Yeah.
Well, now he's definitely a top 5 pick.
Yeah, he might be top 3.
Doubtful.
If he leads Texas Tech to win the national championship,
And Texas Tech,
he's higher than
Texas
RJ
Tech
Barrett.
is going to win 54 to 52.
Low scoring.
Both very good defensive teams, and that is your 2018 March Madness. 2019. We are in 2019.
Yeah.
2019 March Madness Final Four in Minneapolis, the great city Minneapolis, where the best team in the NFL plays. And Trent predicts Villanova's going to go and take over the world again, back to back. Jay Wright cements himself as the greatest coach in
3
NCAA.
times in 4 seasons.
Best coach in NCAA history over Coach K, possibly. That would be up for a discussion, maybe for a later day, but to see that happen would be very...
It'd be pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
Especially losing all those players. Dante DiVincenzo, Amari Spellman, Jalen Brunson.
And then you go and see in the dark and deep trenches of Logan Newman's whereabouts. He is celebrating, going crazy, posting on his stories about how Villanova is the greatest team ever, and Philly is supreme over anybody.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen because Texas Tech goes and wins it all, and Villanova loses the St. Mary's in the first round. Logan's heartbroken.
All right.
Logan,
thanks for watching. Leave your opinions in the comments. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of hate, especially me for my tournament, because
hey, you love Buddy Boeheim.
I was just winging it the whole time, and whatever happens, happens. Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe.